Hi, everyone. Welcome to Co-Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Boston, and we have a treat today. Dr. Daniel Greenstein, who is a dentist. He's our first dentist on Co-Medicine. I hope there's some dentists out there listening. He's also known as Dr. Dan. He's a healthcare comedian. He loves performing for doctors and dentists and healthcare teams. He also has performed in comedy clubs. He likes performing for healthcare professionals. He has a musical background as well, so he likes to do parody songs. He's got an album that's been on NPR. It's called Spit Happens. He also was the winner on America's Funniest People and a finalist. I can't even believe this is a thing. A finalist in Colgate's search for America's Funniest Dentist. But anyway, I like Dr. Dan. He's very authentic. I love talking to him and I love meeting him. I hope you do too. How's it going, Dan? Thank you so much for being on the show.
Dr. Sarah, it's my privilege to be invited to be a guest on your show on Co-Medicine. I'm so excited that you found me.
I am too. I know you said I lightly stalked you.
Correct. I love it when women stalk me. That doesn't happen lately. So
You weren't that hard to find, though.
That.
I don't know if stalking is it's a big word, but I was very happy to find you as I search out people who are doing stand-up comedy and also practice and have a day job. So excited to get to know you. I think I'm going to start with your day job. You're a dentist.
Correct.
You're still practicing as a dentist. So tell us a little bit about being a dentist and when you finished dental school and your experience in the profession.
Sure. Well, I've been a dentist since 1983. I graduated at the State University of Stony Brook, which is on Long Island. And my parents were already living in South Florida. I took the boards. And next thing you know, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I had good hair. I had a 300ZX. I was living right near the beach. It was just unbelievable. It was paradise. And then for some reason, after 2 years, I decided I've always wanted to live in Manhattan. So I went back to my roots to the New York City area, tried to practice in New York City. After 2 years of living next to the ocean and not dealing with winter, that was the end of that. And I came crawling back to Florida. But I did meet my wife up in New York, and I dragged her down here kicking and screaming. She's a native from Maine, but she was an actress on several soap operas and films. And we moved back to South Florida. My kids grew up in Boca Raton. I lived in Boca Raton for 35 years. I've been a dentist, general dentist. I practice now 4 days a week. I do everything, extractions, root canal, dentures, the whole deal. The number one thing that I can think that dentists and veterinarians do have in common is the fact that people bite me. And I have a feeling that your patients bite you too. So, but I think when your patients bite you, it's a little more dramatic. But I've been bitten in 40 years, yes, several times.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes, but my patients apologize. They go, "Oh, I didn't know that your finger was in there. I'm sorry. Is everything okay?"
Have you ever been hurt by being bitten?
No, I've never been hurt, but I goof about that. If they do bite me, oh my God, I'm going to have to go on disability. Look. And then I go like this, look, you took half my fingers.
He's showing a missing finger. He's the 9-fingered dentist.
So I practice 4 days a week. It's the kind of thing that I'm good at it. I like it. I know it's hard to imagine that someone wants to fix teeth all day long, but I'm good with my hands, and that's how I got into it. And I'm still rocking and rolling.
Well, I wanted to ask you that. I don't know how to ask this without sounding offensive.
It's fine. I'm here all day
because
long.
when you're a veterinarian, people just are like, well, you love animals. That's why you do that. And you don't really have to explain yourself because that is what draws most of us to the profession.
Correct.
And there's other things too. But I don't believe you love teeth. What is it that made you want to be a dentist? I mean, you've been doing it for a long time. You obviously do have a passion for it. But what is it that drew you to it and what keeps you doing it?
So when I was a kid, I used to build things all the time. I always used to work with my hands. I took all in high school back in the day. There was something called shop class, industrial arts. So I always used to make things and work with my hands. I originally went to school for mechanical engineering. I used to be good at math until differential equations and thermodynamics got in the way. And there was a dental school where I went undergraduate, and I was talking to some guys, and I said, I can't be an engineer. This sucks. We're not building anything. I thought we were going to make stuff and work with, and they were like, what are you talking about? But we do that in the dental school, and it's just arts and crafts all day long. We're just throwing teeth around and working with plaster, and you don't have to deal with a hospital. No one's dying. And I could do that. So I checked it out. I went to the dental school. I saw what these guys were doing. I never thought about being a dentist. Changed my major to biology, and voila, 40 years later, I'm still doing it. I come home on the weekends. I'm always puttering around my house, fixing things. I go on YouTube. I see how people do things. I go, okay, let's do it. I'm going to fix something today. My wife's like, okay, what are you doing today? Well, I got to fix this. Okay, great. So I'm still working with my hands. I do it all day long, and I'm good at it, and I'm lucky.
I think you are lucky because you're still talking about it with kind of excitement, which is fantastic. What do you think is the biggest challenge about your profession and being a dentist?
That people don't like you, that people don't want to be there, that people
Oh,
are awake. Your patients don't go, oh, I hate going to the veterinarian. Right? They don't say that, right?
sometimes they do in their own way, but yeah,
But I hear that all day long. I hate going to the dentist. I mean, that's the first thing. Are you supposed to endear me with that? We're having a blind date here, and that's the first thing you got to tell me. So,
I don't want to be here.
yeah, I'm not too crazy about you either, okay? But you're here, so let's get going. So that's the biggest problem, that no one wants to be there. Okay, number one. Then you're asking them to pay you. Number two. And number three, they're afraid. So those are the big challenges. And once you can get past that and show people that you're gentle and that you're caring and that you know what you're doing, and then people come back and they say, wow, it was great. Well, there was no problem. I'm going to, talk about you, et cetera, et cetera. So that also makes you feel good when people say nice things about your work. But that's the biggest challenge is getting past those three things.
I didn't really think about that. I mean, I don't think people like coming to me. People will say, I want you to be my vet. And then I tell them I'm a cancer surgeon. And I say, no, no, you don't. You don't want to come see me. But so, yeah, maybe I'm the same that people don't want to see me either. But when you know that someone comes and they're scared or they don't want to be there, they're scared of all of the drills and all the things that we associate with dentists. Are you using humor to try to help relax people?
Yes, I do try to break the ice and act a little more semi-professional and professional and goof around with everybody. And my team is always laughing and we're always having fun. And people are saying, wow, it doesn't even feel like I'm with the dentist here. Your team, everyone's having fun. And it's not like very staid and very, this is how it is. I give people the mirror. I show them what we're going to do. I ask them to smile. I take photos. Here I am trying to help you with your smile, not trying to deal with this little tooth, this little thing, that they have no idea what I'm talking about. If someone's in pain, they come to me in pain and I can solve that. Obviously they're super happy. They're like, oh my God, that's it? We're done? I go, yeah, you're going to be fine. So that's really great. But I assume that everyone does not want to be there. That's the number one assumption.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I feel like, I mean, I've only just met you, but the few times I've had to chat with you, you kind of have humor all about everything you do, it feels like. So I would love it if you were my dentist.
Uh, thank you.
I don't know if I'd like want to go to you, like I'd be excited, but I'd be happy that you were my dentist anyway.
Oh, that's so nice. But you seem like you have beautiful teeth. So I don't think there's not that much I could sell you. So I
Oh,
think you're,
they're not bad. They're not bad. Yeah. Uh, so I'm going to pivot now to stand-up comedy, which I know is, it sounds like you love being a dentist, but I guess your other love and your other passion. Can you just talk a little bit about however you want to tackle this, but like, why did you start? When did you start? And like, what was your path to get into being a stand-up comedian?
sure. So my younger brother is a professional actor and he also did stand up in LA for a long time. And he's 2 years younger than me. And he shows up in West Palm Beach at the Comedy Corner on his circuit when he was doing a lot of stand up. And me and my mom went to see him and he was great. And I was like, oh man, that seems like that's so fun, Pretty sure I would like to try to do that. And then I opened my own practice in Broward County and I got involved in something called Toastmasters. And to try to promote myself, I did a lot of local speaking and I never did any speaking before. And Toastmasters had this thing, humorous speech contest. So I put together a bunch of speeches. Next thing you know, I'm like vying for the championship in Florida for humorous speech. So then they said, look, if you really want to challenge yourself, start doing open mics, start doing stand up at comedy clubs. And in the 80s, any bar, any restaurant would throw up a microphone at least once or twice a week. Now we're, laughs a lot or we're Mr. Funnies or whatever they call themselves. So there was a lot of stand up going around, a lot of open mic. I don't know if you ever saw Carrot Top, but Carrot Top started here in Boca Raton. He was a student at the university here at Florida Atlantic University. And I used to do open mic with Carrot Top. He killed, obviously, and he went on to much bigger things. I just got into it and I liked it. It was fun. I remember the first night that I really did stand up at a real club, which was also the Comedy Corner in West Palm Beach. And Judy Tenuta was supposed to be the headliner that night. She recently passed away, the love goddess, with her accordion and this whole thing. So this was really the first club that I really tried to do open mic. The manager of the club comes up to me and she goes, Judy Tenuta just canceled. And the place was packed. It was a Tuesday. packed. I go, who's going to be here on Tuesday? Nobody, right? So here I am. She goes, you've done this before, right? Because you're going up first. And I had never done it ever in
Oh,
front of a real
wow.
crowd at a real comedy club, right?
Wow.
And I had my 5 minutes, and she goes, well, you're going up first. She was the headliner. We're going to have the middle open, and we're going to tell everyone that Judy Tenuta is not coming. And I'm like shaking, I'm shaking. I don't smoke, but I think I smoked that day before I got on stage. I'm throwing up on the curb. Oh my God. All right. So I went up and I did my bit and I didn't die. And I kept doing it. And next thing you know, one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And I had these milestones that kept building and I got hooked.
Yeah, we get hooked, we get addicted. It's interesting to me because you've done a lot of contests and kind of during an era where maybe it was more of a thing than I realized because I always think about like America's Got Talent or talent competitions. And you were a winner, TV's America's Funniest People. And then
Yes.
you were a finalist. And I didn't even know this was a thing. So I want to talk about both of these. You were a finalist in Colgate's search for America's Funny Dentist. So can you tell us about those two competitions that you were in?
Sure. Well, America's Funniest People was a TV show just like America's Funniest Videos. It was produced by Vin DeBona Productions in California. I'm in South Miami doing my bit, and these guys from America's Funniest People are in the crowd. They go, after I'm on stage, they come to me. They go, we're producers for America's Funniest People. And that bit that you just did, the Hairy Club for Men, that's funny. And we want to put you on TV. And I go, what are you talking about, America? I never heard of the show. Okay, this is like 1991, 92, 93, something like this. Right? And the guy says, you never heard of it? Come on. Well, you come back down here to Miami tomorrow. We're going to have a professional TV crew. We're going to tape like 5 of you guys. I go, I'm a dentist. I have a full schedule tomorrow. I'm not coming back down here to Miami. The guy looks at me. He goes, you could win $10,000. And I said, I'll be here. Okay. So I go into the morning. I tell my staff, look, I'm not going to come in the rest of the day. I'm driving to Miami.
It's like a sick day.
Yeah, whatever. Dr. Dan's sick, whatever. His dog bit him or something. So I don't have a dog, by the way. I go down there. They tape me. 3 or 4 days later, someone calls me from Vin DeBona Productions. I didn't believe it, right? I told my front desk, I said, yeah, just take the number. I thought it was one of my friends because I told them
Oh.
I just got some of my comedy friends. And so I called them back. Hello, this is America's Funniest Videos. Yeah, what? Yeah, we want you to fly out here. Can you fly out here on Friday? I'm like, really? Yeah. I taped the show. And next thing you know, I come in second place that week. And it was so much fun. It was so great. They have a big PR team. They sent out all this publicity to like the Miami Herald, the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel, all this stuff. Local dentists to be on America's Funniest People. Oh my God, right? So we had this big party at my house and it was just tons of fun. And then one thing led to another, led to another. I'm in Manhattan doing a dental gig for a local dental society. And someone shows me in the Daily News that the Colgate company is going to have a contest for America's Funniest Dentist. And that night I'm supposed to perform for this dental group in Manhattan. And I go, well, what is this? So I call them and I told them, I'm going to win. And the guy looks, he's on the phone. What are you talking about? I have a whole act. Well, fly to Atlanta and we're going to have 4 semifinals. So Colgate had this thing called the stand-up tube. Instead of a regular, squeeze out tube of toothpaste, they had like
Oh,
a
yeah.
ketchup bottle, like you turn it over.
Yeah, I
So
remember. I
so
remember
they
it.
invented the stand-up tube.
It was good. I don't know what happened to that.
So someone in marketing said, stand-up tube, let's see, stand-up dentist, stand-up comedy. What? Okay, so anyway, I fly to Atlanta at the Punchline. I killed. I mean, there were guys on there. There were like 8 other dentists. They had never been on stage before. They didn't know what they were doing. I had a whole act already about being a dentist. So I won. It was great. It was just so much fun, right? And you're shaking like, oh my God. So they fly me and my wife to Manhattan to this little comedy club on the Upper West Side. And this other guy beats me, this dentist from Dallas, who I've never heard of since. He did this really funny bit as a Baptist preacher. He killed. And I was runner up. And luckily, this guy vanished because he was really funny.
I wonder what happened to him.
He got on Comedy Central and
Wow.
it was really something. And then he fell off the planet. So I've never heard of him since. And so now I go up as America's Funniest Dentist.
Right. Yeah. Because we got rid of the guy from Dallas. I hope he's not I hope we didn't really. I'm gonna.
I don't know what
Here's
happened to him.
here's where I get into trouble. Uh, I think that is hilarious that Colgate would run a competition like that because there's not that many dentists doing stand up. I would assume now or then. Like that was like a flaw in the marketing plan. I think that they're like every year we're going to run this competition, except there's like 3 guys. I don't know. No, I shouldn't say that because you won, and I should.
There's a famous comedy club called the Punchline. So the show was at the Punchline, and it was really fun. The place was packed, and I had some friends from Atlanta, and they came, and it just was really funny.
That's amazing.
It was disappointing because I lost in New York, and that's my home turf. So I had people from high school and people from my family were there, and I didn't do as well as I did in Atlanta.
Oh, but you didn't lose. You came in second. That's like it's a science nerd mentality to say you lost when you came in second in a huge competition. So funny. I'm gonna do a seg. Our sponsor is Hill's Pet Nutrition, but Colgate is the parent company. So we're shouting them out without even trying. We're shouting them out. Thank you to Colgate and Hill's for helping us with our podcast. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our title exclusive sponsor, Hill's Pet Nutrition. Thank you so much, Hill's, for everything you do, including some of the work you do with animal shelters and pets in need. The Hill's Food, Shelter, and Love program provides food to 1,000 animal shelters and has provided $300 million worth of science-led nutrition to pets in need, helping them to be healthier, and hopefully that will help them get adopted faster. They also have the Hills Disaster Relief Network, which provides food to animal shelters, vet clinics, and other nonprofits who are caring for pets in need after disasters. So that's just some of the social programs that Hills does. They're just a fantastic company. Thank you, Hills, for everything you do, including being a part of this podcast, because I literally couldn't do it without you. So something else you love to do, and you have so many clips out there and you're very talented, but you like to do song parodies and your musicals. Like, was that something as a kid that you were musical? Because you're actually like your song parodies are funny, but you're actually quite good at the songs that you're playing, in my opinion. And you can play the piano and you play the harmonica. So how did you get into music, and then how do you bring that into your routines? I know you love that.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. So I've been playing the piano since 3rd or 4th grade. I don't know if you've ever been to these dueling piano bars, but these guys are so talented who play dueling piano. So I live next to a town called Delray Beach, and Delray Beach, there used to be a dueling piano bar. These guys were so nice and so fun. And a lot of these guys, they don't even read music. They just hear it. It's amazing to me. And they can play anything. And they just are so funny and so fun. And, they're doing parody songs the whole night, to everything. And then I said, I'm going to write some parody songs in dentistry. So I put together a whole bunch. I had some of these guys help me with the music and the recording. And they had a recording studio, and these guys were so nice. And we made a CD, and I started trying to sell them online and at these dental conventions that I perform at. And then I sent these CDs all across, like from Regis and Kathleen Lee to the Today Show to Howard Stern. And all I got was rejection letters, very nice. Take care. Be a dentist. Nice to talk to you. And then I sent one to National Public Radio. And 6 months later, NPR calls me. And NPR, well, you're in Canada, but I'm sure they have public TV and public radio in Canada, obviously. Canadian broadcasting.
Yeah.
So NPR calls me and says, can you get down to Miami? We want to put you on National Public Radio tonight. I'm like, what? They're like, get to Miami by 4:00. So there's another day where I canceled the whole day. And I said, okay, I'll be there. Next thing you know, I'm on All Things Considered for my silly Spit Happens. The CD's called Spit Happens. And my parody songs are on that. And they said, that's really funny. So they interviewed me about Spit Happens. And then I got tons of publicity about that too in the local media. So I got all this free publicity between Colgate Search for America's Funniest Dentist, from NPR, and from America's Funniest Videos. So all that morphed into this other life for me outside of my dental practice. So.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. You kind of made me think of this. You were getting pretty big success with, like, I don't know how hard you were trying or how hard you were working at it, but it sounds like things came pretty easy. Like you were like, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. And it was just like, oh, I like this. I'm going to keep doing it. And you've got some some actors in the family. And did you ever think like, oh, like if I would only spend more time on my stand up, like, it's always that balance between, is it a hobby? Is it a profession? And like, did you ever think, well, if I really could focus on this, I could make it, whatever that means? Cause I go through that sometimes. Or are you just kind of like, no, I'm happy with the balance of doing both?
I would travel. I would get picked up in a limousine. I would get money to perform for an hour at dental conventions. And I'm going, this is unbelievable. Then I come back to my practice. This person's not going to pay. This insurance company's not paying. This one quit. I'm like, oh my God, all these hassles, right? This person's, not happy, whatever. I can't wait to just vanish again and get on a plane and do my thing. So the answer to your question is yes. And I actually try to do that more. And I try to morph my bit to include medical doctors also and hospitals and this whole other world. And I found out that the medical community does not hang out with their team at all. My brother-in-law is a physician. I know a lot of physicians. And what really makes my show funny is when the teams are there. And if it's just 50 dentists, forget it. They don't laugh. But if it's
Okay.
150 people and there's 100 of the staff members that laugh and I can make fun of everybody, of the whole team, it's funny. But I tried to promote that, the same scenario to medical doctors. And they're like, we never hang out with our teams at all. Our staff, our, front desk, we never do anything with them. Maybe we have a Christmas party. That's about it. But dentists happen, it has to be a whole team thing. Like dentists go on cruises with their teams for continuing education. I used to take my team to Colorado. I went to Scottsdale with them. There's these big conventions that very successful guys bring their whole crew. So it's more of like a family. When I found out that medical doctors, no, we don't, it's like a big hierarchy. We're up here, they're
Okay.
down there.
Yeah.
So it just didn't pan out. I wasn't getting any traction. I wasn't getting any responses. I tried, and my wife was like, "Get back to being a dentist, or we're going to lose everything."
Focus back. That's, I think veterinary hospitals might be more similar to a dental practice because they're a bit smaller and you would have like a team or a family, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of us do hang out with each other. So that is very interesting. Maybe it's just too big in the human healthcare world. I don't know. And I think you like to make fun of the dentist and then make fun of the hygienist and you like to kind of poke fun at everyone's role
Right.
in the team. I have one more question and then we're going to go to your clip. What do you feel is the biggest challenge in stand-up comedy?
Knowing your audience. Knowing your audience. Like I killed in Colorado, killed, and I did the same exact show in Oklahoma, and I bombed the next night. Okay, bombed, disaster. I'm tapping the microphone. I'm going. I did the same act last night in Colorado, and people were laughing. Afterwards, the guy comes up to me, goes, "You don't know Oklahoma, do you, boy? We ain't Colorado." And I'm like, "Holy shit! It's just the next state.
Yeah.
We ain't Colorado." And they just didn't think I was funny at all.
I know you can't say your whole act. What do you think that wasn't speaking to them? Because I know you talk about insurance and stuff.
They're just more serious. They're just more serious. They're more uptight. I don't know. Colorado, they're smoking pot, they're skiing,
Oh,
they're hanging
okay.
out. It's a whole different mentality. They're just like, this whole mountain fun, just different culture. And Oklahoma, I don't know. They're just much more staid, much more God fearing. I don't know, but I was doing the same stuff. And they were staring at me like, why doesn't this guy just be a dentist? I mean, he ain't
Like,
funny at
no.
all. So, so
Ah,
it was so weird. I'm tapping the microphone.
I'm sorry for laughing, but
I didn't even want to take the check, like it was unbelievable. So knowing your audience is a big thing. Like people say, why don't you go and do stand up at clubs anymore? I go, because it's not funny to these people. I'm not going to do 28-year-olds and talk to them about dentures or whatever. They're not going to find it funny. I don't curse. I don't do sex jokes. I don't do, all this, rap stuff, all this stuff that I can't relate to. I have no clue what they're even talking about. So, so you got to know your crowd. Seinfeld won't even do colleges anymore, right? He says, I won't even go to a college. All this politically correct crap. Don Rickles would never make it anymore, picking on people, making fun of you. People are so sensitive now. So you can't say
yeah.
anything.
It's funny, Seinfeld, like, I don't think Seinfeld is very I mean, he's obviously brilliant, but I don't think of him as like a controversial comic. No, I know. But It would be funny for Seinfeld to get canceled.
I've heard him say, I won't go to a university campus anymore. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. And it's just knowing your crowd, you know? I could not go to a regular comedy club now and be funny. I don't think I could. People would leave looking at me like, this guy's like a grandpa. What's he up there for? You know, what's he talking about?
See, that's funny that you say that because, like, I don't know. When I look at your clips and then just talking to you now, like, I think you're kind of OG to me. Like, you're just like this classic New York comic to me. I don't know. I mean, I think you just also have to do what's fun for you. And so your focus right now is kind of healthcare professionals and dental professionals. That's what you're kind of enjoying.
Correct. I would like to branch out and have a general healthcare professional, a show, and do hospitals and things like that, big groups. But I haven't been able to crack that market. So
All right. Well, maybe this is it. Co-medicine is gonna
I
you're
hope
gonna
so,
crack
Sarah.
through. We're
Dr.
gonna crack
Sarah.
through.
This is it. The
um,
glass ceiling is going to explode.
I'm going to ask one more question, then we're going to pop to the clip. It sounds like you are a little addicted, which I am too, and probably lots of people listening who do stand up understand that. But what do you like the most about doing stand up comedy?
When you get the response, you know, when you stop and you hear people are laughing and you don't want to go over that laugh, you want to let that laugh roll. When you start, you know, you're nervous and you go and you start your next bit right while they're laughing. And you have to learn to wait a little bit and to just suck that in. And then when you kill and you get off and people are like, man, you were funny. It is just great. You know, that's every comic says the same thing, but there's so many highs and lows. You know, you want to kill, but you don't want to bomb. That's the best thing when you hear that laugh and people get it. You're like, oh man, yeah, that was funny. So,
That's the dopamine hit that we
right,
get or whatever's
exactly.
going on. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna pop over to a clip and then we're gonna come back and talk about it. So popping you to a clip now.
I've got Obamacare, I got a $7,500 deductible. You know, I woke up with chest pain 4 years ago. I woke up with chest pain and I'm going, my wife's like, we got that $7,500 deductible, right? I said, yeah, I think we do. She goes, you know, just take a shower, okay? You're gonna be fine, right? You're gonna be fine. We got that $7,500. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Right, so you don't call 911 right away when you got a $5,000 deductible, $2,000 co-payment, $500 pharmacy. You think about it for a little while, all right? You sit there thinking about it. I'll take a couple of aspirin. I'll double up on my Lipitor. So that's what I did, right? So my wife has a degree in art, okay? She's never taken biology in her whole life. But I'm listening to her, all right? So I take a hot shower, and I think I'm having a heart attack, all right? I think I should go to the emergency room. $7,500, you're not going to the emergency room. You're fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, so finally I said, no, I think there's something wrong with me. So I don't call 911, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, the ambulance, that's going to be another $1,000. No way, paramedics, da-da-da. I'm just going to drive to the emergency room. Right? So I drove to the emergency room. I'm going, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they hook me up to the EKG and they're taking my blood, looking for this enzyme. They're going, you look fine, everything's fine, you're not having a heart attack. And I said, if I just lose $7,500, that's going to give me a heart attack, right? So all they said, oh yeah, you're way past the $7,500. You're in. So you might as well get everything checked out, all right? So 3 days later at Boca Regional, so they told me, you know, when I went in there, they said, you need a quadruple bypass, you're all clogged up, we can't even do stents. And I woke up and I found out they only did a triple bypass. And I said, hey, do I get a discount? So then Humana had to pay for 100% for the whole year because I had made my $7,500. So I got every hole in my body checked out. Right? I went to every ologist I could think of. Right? And I took every medication, I took every anti-anxiety, antidepressant, I took Cialis, every medication you could think of that you see on TV, and I tried them all, right? Because I'm Humana. You know, they've been schooling me for 30 years. Okay? I had a colonoscopy, I had a double hernia, I had a nuclear stress test, I had my eyes checked out, I had back surgery. I'm like, and then people in the OR are going, you're back again? Oh my God, this guy's back again? I even went to the gynecologist on December 31st, just to make sure I was okay.
Oh, that was so funny.
Well, thanks. I wouldn't recommend people to try to get good material to, you know, have an open heart surgery.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay. It is actually interesting, like as a Canadian, listening to jokes about health insurance and even like you're a successful doctor. And I don't know how much of that was a joke or true that it actually goes through your head. Like, I've got a huge deductible. Like, is this really serious or not? Is how much of that is based in reality and how much of it is just like, well, almost like a premise.
Well, I couldn't believe this was happening to me, first of all. I'm 52 years old. I work out. I was on Lipitor. I did everything right. And next thing you know, I think I'm having a heart attack. What? So I don't believe that this is happening. I tell my wife, I think I'm having a heart attack. And my wife's like, we have a $7,000 deductible, right? Yeah. Well, go take a shower. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean, I drove myself to the hospital. Okay. I didn't want the $1,000 ambulance bill. I drove myself and I get there and they can't find the enzyme that troponin. My EKG is fine. And they're looking at me and they're going, everything's fine. Are you sure? And I go, did I just blow through $7,000 and there's nothing wrong with me? Because that's going to give me a heart attack. Okay. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're way past the $7,000. So you're here, you're in. And then they did a cardiac cath and they said, you need open heart surgery. And I'm like, this is crazy. So, yeah, the answer to your question is yes. Did I think about the $7,000? The answer is yes.
Wow. Okay. It does give me pause as a Canadian. Our healthcare system's not perfect, but if you're a successful dentist and you're pausing, I think about people who don't have insurance or don't have good insurance. Like, what are they doing, right? They're maybe not going in or letting things slide. So concerning.
Oh, I was lucky. Look, if I didn't know the symptoms, I wouldn't have gone, And these guys said, you saved your life, man. You're all clogged up. We couldn't even do stents. You need the whole thing. And then the interventional cardiologist looks at me. He goes, you're a dentist, right? I go, yeah, yeah. He goes, look, you need a quadruple bypass. Okay. I don't want you telling me I need a root canal because I don't want one. All right. And I go, you're comparing a root canal to a quadruple bypass? Please.
But you had open heart surgery.
Oh, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Deal.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Now, as much as you're comfortable talking about it, that was a rough time, I think. Like you had some, just going through that, obviously, that was a kind of understatement that was a rough time, but it also led to other issues and it was not a great time in your life.
Correct. Yes. Bad time in my life.
Bad time. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. It's okay if you don't.
So it's not the highlight. So yeah, I'm sitting there in the hospital for 10 days and I'm going, I just have too much stress. I have to change my life. I have to get rid of my practice. I was just not a good business person. I'm a very good dentist, but in terms of, delegating and sharing responsibility and understanding how to run a business, I'm not very good at that. So I wore every hat and all that stress just was too much. So I left my practice and I work for other people now and things are working out much better for me. And I've got 2 gigs coming up, so I'm very happy.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great news. Yeah, a lot of veterinarians are also, because we're in a similar position where a lot of veterinarians run a practice, like they run a business. We have no training in that. Like zero. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because I graduated a long time ago, maybe like one class now, but it's not like it's an MBA or something. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's similar struggle with some veterinarians out there who are kind of now they're HR and payroll and doing all that. And they don't know. Yeah.
When I was started 40 years ago, okay, there was no HR. There was no employee handbooks. There was no OSHA. There was no HIPAA. You could do whatever you wanted. All right. I used to go out with my patients. As long as my wife didn't find out about it, it was fine. Anything goes back then. Nothing happened.
Okay. I'm moving on. So I graduated in 1996. And when I started veterinary school, there was no wellness. There was no mental health. No one talked about it. Okay. But a lot of problems with mental health in my profession and at least by reputation, a lot of problems in the dental profession. And someone in my class for one day, we heard there was a dentist in our class and he committed suicide after one day of veterinary school. No one talked about it. They called someone who was on the wait list and like basically said, because people want spots, they said, there's a spot for you, brought in someone else who showed up, like managed to move to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan and to become a veterinarian. Never talked about it for 4 years, never talked about it. And so we've kind of always known that like I've known dentistry has a reputation of having like burnout, mental health issues, and veterinary medicine does. We always say that our profession has the highest suicide rate.
Really?
But the dentists also say that. I mean, I think we all do. And so, like, I don't know if you can speak to that just because you've been in the profession for a long time about how things have changed with addressing mental health issues, addressing burnout. Was it even a thing for us? Like, we observed it, but no one talked about it. And has that changed?
I don't know if it's the dentists who bring it up, but the patients bring it up. So, uh, so the patients, like I said, it's your first date. They sit in the chair. The first thing is it true that dentists have the highest rate of suicide? I heard that. And I look at them, I go, no, it's homicide. Okay. And you're next. Okay. So suicide.
Terrifying.
No,
As you're like giving them a gas mask.
I never heard it was suicide. I heard it was homicide. So the answer to the question is that there isn't now a outreach program that the American Dental Association has, and you see it in all the journals now, that they do have more concern about the wellness and the psychological effects of spending your whole day in this little room, the size of a solitary confinement room, on a little tooth, working with somebody who you don't really have that much to relate to, no offense. You're dealing with someone who doesn't want to be there and asking them for money, and all those pressures that daily build up. And yes, the answer is that dentistry is difficult, technically, business wise, everything. So it does build up. People have challenges, but the answer is that it's being recognized now. And 40 years ago, it wasn't. And people just went on their merry way and dealt with it. And, there's a high rate of suicide. I mean, I'm divorced. I'm sorry. Alcoholism, all that kind of stuff. Whichever way it is to manage your stress, that's what happens.
So a lot of similarities, like the high performing professions that maybe we don't always deal with our stress the best that we can. It's a bit of a mission for me in my profession, but is that what you're trying to do? I know you just love comedy, but is there a part of you that is trying to sort of help ease stress with your comedy performances for dental teams?
No, I don't really think of it that way at all.
You don't? Okay.
I'm just trying to be funny.
Okay. No, that's totally cool that you don't have I just know.
There's not another agenda. I don't think of it that way, but I'm often asked by groups who just don't want to hire me for an hour of being funny. Do you have something that we can get some continuing education out of, like a 3-hour program? And, do you have something more? Because we just don't want you for dinner or for lunch and something like that. Do you have like a whole program? So the fact that you're bringing that up is something that I've thought of to try to morph my show into something more educational. And that's a good tack to use. The title of my show that I'm thinking of is Don't Let the Crazies Make You Nuts. So that's the idea that I'm thinking about, to try to get my act to be more of a credit-worthy continuing education program. Because right now, when I tell people, no, there's no continuing education credits with my program. Actually, they take away continuing education credits from you. If you see me, you get less credits on your license. So, but that's a big barrier to me getting hired, because they don't want to pay me just for an hour for what I ask. They say, no, we'll give you that, but we want a whole, half a day or something like that. I said, I don't have that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm here for you, Dan. I'm here. I'm just here to help.
All right. So I'll bounce off my ideas and you can tell me if they're good.
I'll be like, yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, do that. Okay. You kind of answered this, but if you had the opportunity, you can just confirm what I think. If you could, you're not going to be a dentist anymore. You're a full-time stand-up comedian, either in a club or wherever you want to be, healthcare comedian. You make the same amount of money. It doesn't affect your family at all. Would you still be a dentist, or would you say, no, I'm going to perform full-time?
Most likely, I've been doing it for 40 years already. So I'd say I've done my thing as a dentist. I would probably leave. And, a lot of my friends are starting to retire now. My brother-in-law is retired. I have other medical friends and dental friends who had enough, and they're done. I just haven't reached that point yet. So the answer is, if I could and just do performing all the time, to be honest, I would say, yeah, I put in my 40 years. I'm going to hang up my drill. Take care. Let the new generation take over.
Take it over. All right. No, that's cool. I still haven't fully decided. Still like being a veterinarian. I don't know. But yeah, I'm 27 years in, so we'll see. At 40, I'll probably be like, yep, no, I'm done. This is enough. All right. I know. Do you want to talk a little bit about how to find you, and if there's anything else you wanted to promote right now?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Dr. Dan Entertainment. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Dr. Dan Show, Dr. Dan Entertainment. My website is healthcareentertainer.com or dentalcomedian.com. You can give me a call or text me at 561-843-1617 or 843-1617. So I'm in South.
That's your real phone number, isn't it?
Oh, sí, claro,
That is
claro.
amazing to me. You just put your phone number on the internet. What is going to happen, Dan?
But I forgot to put my area code in Spanish. So 561-843-1617.
Now do it in
Anything.
French because I'm in Canada.
Right. 561, 8, 3, 43, 16, 17.
Oh, beautiful. I don't know. I wasn't sure if you're going to be able to do that.
Yes, my mother was from Belgium, so my mother was from Brussels. So
Oh, okay. Why did you put your cell phone on the internet, Dan?
why not? I just need gigs, why not?
Oh, you're just like, whatever, call me. I'm not okay. Do people call you? I mean, I called you, but do people?
No, I screen all my calls. If I don't know who's calling, I don't pick it up. So if they go,
Oh, and then they
no,
leave a message, and then you're
yeah,
like,
if
is
they're
this
going to
real?
leave a message, you could delete that if you want. I mean, it's fine. But I don't have a problem. Call me, please. I'm lonely.
Okay,
Lonely.
everyone
Help.
call Dr. Dan and just call him. He wants to talk to you.
Why not?
All right. Well, lots of reasons why not, but
You get these crazy calls all day long, right?
it's a
So
good point.
people are finding your phone number somehow, and they make believe like they know you, right? Oh, this is Bill. How you doing? We've got this great offer. You didn't call us back or something like that. You listen to these messages, these robocalls. So putting
It's
my
just
number out there
phishing, and
doesn't
you're
get.
just like, okay, fine, call me. I don't care. I love it. Actually, that's good. I'm back on board with that.
All right. So let me just ask this one, since you're a veterinarian. So how long? So you go to veterinary school for 4 years. So then you do a residency in surgery, and then you do a fellowship in surgical oncology. How does that work?
Yeah, if you're crazy like me. So it's a 4-year program. It depends, like it's 2 to 4 years of pre-vet, and then 4 years to be a doctor of veterinary medicine. And then from there, you can be a primary care veterinarian, or you can do an internship, which is like a specialization in small or large animal. Or there's lots of internships actually, but those are kind of the common ones. And then if you want to specialize, then you would apply for a residency. So I did surgery, small animal surgery, you can do large animal surgery, you can do internal medicine, ophthalmology, dentistry. You can be a board certified veterinary dentist. And then this is not very common to subspecialize, but after a residency, then you can do a fellowship. So I did a fellowship in surgical oncology. Yeah.
And that's 1 year, that fellowship?
The fellowship was 1 year. Yeah.
So when you get out of veterinary school, you're not then classified as a small or large animal veterinarian. You still have to go further to be small animal or large animal.
Our degree, I actually right now could go do surgery on a cow or a pig, but I wouldn't, but I could legally.
And then who are the people who treat like the people at zoos and stuff, exotic animals?
That's a whole other residency.
Okay, that's very interesting because my son's an anesthesiologist and now he's doing a fellowship in pediatric anesthesia. So he's got another year to go. I went to school for 4 years. I'm done. That's a long time ago. And young dentists these days are getting out of school owing, you ready for this? $500,000 US. 500,000 to be a dentist? What the heck?
Yeah.
So is that the same situation in Canada with professionals school?
It's not as bad. If you're a vet student I don't know what they come out in debt, but not like in America. So it is insane. Yeah. Because I was practicing down there, the students would be 250,000, 300,000 in debt, and then they're starting their career and then they can't afford. I mean, it's very difficult for sure.
I don't get it. Wow. That's a lot of teeth you got to fix before you even, crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you one more question, and then you can ask me a question if you want. This is the last question of the podcast. It's very important. I don't know if you read ahead. Very, very last question. I ask all my guests the same last question because I want to get Dr. Ken Jeong to come on this podcast because I think he's probably the most famous medical professional who switched to comedy. Now you're not talking to me. You're not talking to our listeners. You're talking directly to Ken Jeong. If you could speak directly to Ken, how would you invite him to come on Co-Medicine podcast?
Dr. Ken, you are missing out by not coming on Co-Medicine. You will blow up after being with Dr. Sarah at Boston. You think you're big now? Forget it. You're going to be worldwide, even bigger than you are now, all across the country. So you've got to go on there with her. She's amazing. She's funny. She's great. And there's nothing else out there. And I'm just I'm just amazed that she's doing this. And this is definitely for you, Dr. Kim.
All right, I think it's a good tactic. I want to say thank you so much for being on my podcast. I loved meeting you. I really, really enjoyed all the interactions I've had with you, not just on this podcast. So please stay in touch and keep me posted on how things are going. And thank you so much for being on Co-Medicine.
All right, fabulous. Thank you very much. It was really a pleasure, and it was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And that wraps up this episode of Co-Medicine. I've been Dr. Sarah Boston. Thank you so much for listening. I just want to give a big shout out to our exclusive title sponsor, Hill's Pet Nutrition, for helping to make this podcast possible and for supporting veterinarians and initiatives like this. Really, literally couldn't do it without you. I want to thank musical genius and stand-up comedian Mark Edwards for making music that somehow makes me laugh. I don't know how he does it. Please check out his info in his show notes. He is a stand-up comedian and actor. He's absolutely hilarious. And big thank you to my producer, Heather McPherson from Twisted Spur Media, who just seems to make everything work and everything sound great. And I also couldn't do this podcast without her. Thank you for listening. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. That might actually be hard because I am obsessed with this podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please let us know, let your friends know, give us likes and nice comments, do all the things, help support this new podcast. If you didn't enjoy this podcast, I don't know what you're still doing here. You know what? If you didn't enjoy it, you can just do nothing. Nothing would be good. We will see you next episode. Thank you.